Georgetown Mayor and Local Government Commission Chairman at odds over appointment of interim town clerk. Undertakers plan to take the police to court. And why housing schemes are just a housing scam. I am Noriko Bulford, and welcome to tonight's edition of Uncut News. Mayor Ubraj Narayan says he rejects the appointment of a new interim town clerk by the chairman of the Local Government Commission, Julius Faber. Narayan maintains that the appointment was done unlawfully, as Faber never consulted the other members of the commission nor the city council. He feels there is some clear political motive behind the appointment, especially since the more experienced and knowledgeable deputy town clerk, Sherry Jarrick, was reverted to her substantive position after serving in the acting position of town clerk for over a year. Of course it's political though. The position of town clerk was made so central government can interfere in local politics no matter who's in office. I thought everyone knows that. Nevertheless, Faber defended the appointment of the new interim town clerk by saying that he has the authority to do so under the Local Government Commission Act. The City Council is currently engaging its legal counsel on the issue. Yesterday, the Minister of Health announced that they are currently considering the creation of a digital vaccine card so you don't have to carry around that ugly blue book everywhere you go. Previously, the minister said that Guyana was engaging the government of India on using its vaccine database and data tracking software. So, they'll probably end up using that, but we will see. Speaking of vaccines, the GTU has made it clear that it will not be supportive of any requirement that would make it mandatory for teachers to get vaccinated. The union also said there is a need for more awareness campaigns to match the zeal of the vaccination drives, since persons continue to have questions and reservations about the vaccine. As such, they believe that the vaccine must remain voluntary. Exactly what I said about that burning Epicney and the Kryla thing. Lycan Newburgh Funeral Home says they are taking the GPF to court for terminating their contract without notice. According to them, they only learned of the termination after reading about it in the newspaper, as the police never presented them with any document regarding same. The cops say that the funeral home was not in compliance with NIS and the GRA. However, Lycan provided documents showing that they are in fact in compliance with both agencies. Are you one of the chosen few that benefits from duty-free? Good for you! Check out these amazing vehicles that just arrived at Best Buy Auto Sales. This 2016 Toyota Harrier Grand Sport Edition, this 2014 Range Rover Evoque, and this 2016 Lexus RX 200T are all on sale. They are all fully loaded and come with all modern features. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Road Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Rico sent you to get in on a sweet deal. The courts have awarded Tanisha Fredericks a default judgment against locally operated Trinidad-based oil services company, Centipede Offshore. Fredericks was employed as a utilities cleaner with Centipede Offshore. However, they gave Fredericks substandard gloves not suited for handling toxic chemicals and cleaning agents. Instead of being given industrial strength gloves to do her work, she, even after repeatedly complaining about it, was only given surgical gloves. This caused her hands to receive severe chemical burns. Since it was a default judgment, we'll let you know if the cheap advantage-taking chinnies try to appeal the decision. Employees of SPF International are continuing to protest the GEA. On September 14, 2019, the GEA cancelled their fuel import and wholesale license over vague allegations of fraud, and then opened a criminal investigation against the company. Then the GEA went after the company's clients just to add to the intimidation. Because of this and other factors, the workers reportedly haven't been paid in over a year. And despite the many allegations made against Mahendra Sharma and the rest of the GEA, an investigation is yet to be launched into their behavior. Nevertheless, they promise to continue to protest until the matter is resolved. 4 persons were arrested for the murder of 60-year-old Hemraj Pardesi. After living abroad for some years, Pardesi returned to Guyana last month to rebuild his home in Konji, only to be found murdered in his backyard late last evening. The upper flat of the man's house was found ransacked and blood was left on the stairs. According to the police, some of the suspects in custody are believed to have been known to the man. Don't miss the grand 50% off sale and get a free 1-month Digicel Prime Bundle plan. Available at City Mall, Starbucks Square, Regent and Light Street, Massey Takine, and Massey Providence. Shop early, limited stocks available. It's now time for today's Runner Report. Today, the nation recorded 62 new cases. There are now 551 persons dead, 11 persons in the ICU, 600 persons in home isolation, and the total number of confirmed cases around the nation now stands at 22,705. So please, people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds, and remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Early Tuesday morning, 23-year-old Melissa Lewis was killed after she was struck down along Homestretch Avenue in Georgetown. According to the police, 29-year-old Delroy Dominique Diagar was allegedly drunk and speeding down the road at around 3 a.m. when he struck the young woman. He is currently in police custody. Over in Trinidad, yesterday, torrential rains caused catastrophic flooding across several communities of northwest Trinidad, leaving many still counting their losses and assessing damage to their homes. Dramatic videos of vehicles being swept away and crashing into one another by raging floodwaters in St. Anne's was shared on social media. Among the areas impacted were Diego Martin, Maribel, St. Anne's, Cascade, Santa Cruz, and others. Have a business and need access to more Goondu balls? Register it on one of the fastest growing business directories in Guyana. Sign up for free on snap.gy and get your business listed today. And yes, you've heard me right, it's absolutely free. Get listed today on snap.gy. And now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? Housing schemes. Whoever came up with the idea needs a kick in the head. Housing schemes may have lifted many Guyanese out of homelessness, squatting, and perpetual renting, but it's ultimately a trap for many. In fact, the concept of housing low-income families in mass quantities on a barren strip of land in the middle of nowhere has failed in just about every nation that has tried it, at least from my research. And yet Guyana is seemingly addicted to building them. There are many reasons why they fail, but the simplest reason is the fact that a set of homes does not make a community. Communities grow naturally, and they have services such as clinics, police and fire stations, schools, post offices, etc., etc. But when you shove a set of poor people into a corner without any regards to their employment, education, infrastructure, public safety, or even the fact that they even want to live together, then you create the perfect circumstances for the idle children of these hard-working homeowners to engage in crime. I mean, look at that den of crime called Parfait Harmony. After living over there, I can tell you that it's less of a community and more of a hostage situation for the most vulnerable persons in society. When you think about it, maybe that's why they call it a housing scheme, because it's just one big scam to stick all the poor people into one spot, so the rich folks in town don't have to dirty their eyeballs by seeing them. Now, let's be real for a second. Because of our silly attachment to fake socialism, the government owns all the land in Guyana. So, if they really wanted to, the housing ministry could easily repossess all of the abandoned homes and blighted land in the nation's towns and make them affordable high-rise housing and mid-rise housing for the people. They could even give subsidies to new developers and require them to provide a percentage of their housing for low-income people. This method actually works in many cities around the world. I can go on and on with suggestions for housing, but I think you get the idea by now that giving vulnerable persons homes in the middle of nowhere without giving them basic services is pretty stupid. You there, Mr. Truck Owner. A great place to get high-quality truck parts and engine spares for low prices is Powered Automotive. They stock parts for DAF, Freightliner, Mach, International, and all models of Cummins engines. Visit them at lot 1161 EE Eccles or call them on 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Real thing. Moving on to our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So you give your responses in the comments, and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, well, what's vexing you about Guyana? LeVar Anthony said, the biggest issue is the government wasting $900 million on a gas power plant when they can build 5 separate solar farms or wind farms for the same price and result in clean energy while creating more jobs and lowering utility costs. Lank C said, the fact that Guyanese sit back and allow the people that they employ to run this country, both the government and the opposition, to do what they want without being held accountable. Instead of protesting the government, let's educate our brothers and sisters of our rights and responsibilities as Guyanese. Well, we could do both, just saying. Maya Prasad said, the CDC reported 74% of the COVID cases in Massachusetts are of fully vaccinated people, and here in Guyana you have business owners bullying workers to get vaccinated. Why does Guyana business feel they need to follow the Western society who's eating themselves to death, and where 80% of the population is geriatric to begin with? That's a good question, Maya. I wish I knew. And finally, Andy Anderson said, the thing that is vexing me is the mindset of the Guyanese populace. It's so hard for us to look beyond the color of skin and racial discrimination and live as one people. Human resource is the most valuable asset to Guyana, and only then will the Guyanese people be able to bring about the change we are all dreaming of. You all had some great answers tonight, and there's even more in the comments, but that's all the time we have for tonight. So for tonight's question, with other countries considering a return to complete lockdowns again, do you believe that Guyana should do the same? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bullford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.